Welcome to our brand new video on garbage trucks, front loader. We look at all the parts of this front loader garbage truck and how the parts move. We are happy to see you here. We have a lot of knowledge to share with you.
Welcome to Hungry Squishy Brain.
This is called the chassis. This is a funny looking word, and the last S is silent. When you refer to the chassis, it could include the cab, which is this, so all of this could be referred to as the chassis. Or the term chassis could be referring to just this lower area, which is the frame and wheels, but not including the cab. Added on top of the chassis are all of the garbage truck parts. So here are the two arms. And here are the two forks. And what do you see connected to the arms and forks? That's right, the arms and forks are connected to piston rods here and cylinders here. And together, the piston rods and cylinders make up what's called hydraulic pistons, or hydraulic cylinders. Inside the cylinders is pressurized hydraulic fluid, and this is what gives the arms and forks all their power to lift up the very heavy dumpsters. And here are the arms and forks in the raised position. And here are the arms and forks in the lowered position. Here is the tailgate raised up high. And here is the tailgate in the closed position. This is the canopy, and the front part of it flips up to allow more room so that the cab can be tilted forward. And this type of cab is called a cab over engine because, as you can see here, the cab is over the engine. And inside here is the engine. Let's now look at the top of this front loader garbage truck. This is the top door, and it covers the hopper. This door is kept closed when the garbage truck is traveling. The operator opens this top door so that waste can be dropped inside the hopper. And this empty space is called the hopper. This space is where the waste is first dumped into. And this part here is called the packer blade. This is what pushes back and packs all of the waste into the back. Here is a long piston rod, and here are two cylinders. This is called a telescopic piston and cylinder because there is more than one cylinder. And there are typically two of these piston rods inside of the hopper that push on the packer blade. Now let's look inside the back. This entire back area is called the container. And this is where all of the waste, or trash, or garbage, or recyclables are stored. When lifted up, the tailgate is very dangerous because it is very heavy and is only being held up by these two hydraulic piston rods. So you should never stand anywhere near an open, raised tailgate. Here is the packer blade being pushed to the back of the container towards the tailgate, and then retracting. And here is the very heavy tailgate closing shut. Here are the yellow warning lights on, the white reverse tail lights on, and the red brake lights on. And here is the bright white floodlight, which helps the operator see the rear in dark conditions when emptying out the load. Let's now look at the side door to the hopper. First, the latch to the door is slid open, then the door slides open. This is an opening into the hopper, so that debris that is stuck behind or around the packer blade can be cleared out. This is, again, the cab. Let's open the door and take a quick look inside. Here is the driver's seat and the steering wheel. There is another seat on the passenger side. Here is the main console with all of the push controls for the operation of the equipment. And here are two joysticks that control the arms and forks. Let's flip up the canopy again and tilt forward the cab again. And here is where the engine is. This is why the cab is called a cab over engine, because the cab is directly over the engine. And you have to tilt the cab forward to get to the engine. Now, before this front loader garbage truck can be driven, the top door to the hopper has to be closed, and the forks have to be raised, and now this is one of the positions of the arms and forks where the garbage truck can move forward. Here are 5 dumpsters, each a different size. This first one here is the smallest size, and this one is a 2-yard capacity. This second dumpster, here, is the next size up, and this one is a 4-yard capacity. This third dumpster, here, is the next size up, and this one is a 6-yard capacity. This fourth dumpster here, which is even larger, this one is an 8-yard capacity, and has a side door here that slides open. And this last dumpster here, this is the largest one shown here, and this dumpster is a 10-yard capacity. Now let's see the front loader garbage truck lift up and turn over the 2-yard dumpster, the smallest one. The operator moves forward slowly. The arms are already lowered down. So then the forks are lowered down as well. Then slowly the garbage truck is moved forward so that the forks line up with the handle openings on either side of the dumpster. Each dumpster is 6 feet wide. Then the operator lifts up the arms a little bit to move the dumpster to a safe location without any obstructions. Then the top hopper door needs to be fully open before the dumpster is lifted up higher. Then the arms are lifted up. But as the dumpster gets tilted back, the arms need to be tilted downward as the arms go higher. Then the forks are tilted up and towards the open hopper, so that the dumpster's opening tilts into the open hopper. Then after all the contents are out of the dumpster, the arms and forks are lowered back down. And the dumpster is positioned back to its original location. Then the forks are slowly pulled away from the dumpster. Then the top hopper door is closed. And then the forks are raised. And now the garbage truck can drive on to its next location. The next dumpster is the 4-yard capacity. This one is 6 feet wide, and between 5 and 6 feet tall. This dumpster has recyclables inside of it. Let's see this 4-yard capacity dumpster get emptied out into the front loader garbage truck. Notice how, as the arms lift up, the forks need to tilt down, to keep the dumpster from tipping over too far. Then the recyclables fall down into the large hopper. Then the dumpster is lowered back down to the ground. Then the packer blade pushes the material back to the rear of the container. And here's how it looks when the tailgate is lifted, and the packer blade pushes material out the back. This is the 6-yard capacity dumpster. And it also has 2 lids that open and close. This one is the 8-yard capacity dumpster, and it is 7 feet tall, and because it's so tall, you can't open up the top lids to throw waste into, so this large container has doors on the side that slide open and close. This is the 10-yard capacity dumpster, and it is 7.5 feet tall. But this one has long lids that extend down low enough so that you can toss waste into it without the need for side doors. Let's now look at the fuel used to power the engine. This part up here is a protective cover for a row of CNG tanks, or compressed natural gas tanks. This is what can fuel the engine if installed, and using CNG as a fuel source reduces harmful emissions. If these tanks are installed up above here, then this fuel tank, which is a diesel fuel tank, is not needed. This is the ladder. It's folded up here at the bottom, to prevent just anyone from climbing up on top, for safety reasons. When an authorized person needs to climb up to the top of the container, then this part of the ladder rotates downward, so that the ladder can then be climbed up. And then when the garbage truck is moving, the ladder has to be in the folded, upright position. There is a broom hanging on the side of the container. This is to help clean up any debris that has fallen on the ground that the operator is able to sweep up, or to help clear out any items that are stuck behind the packer blade. And there is also a shovel hanging on the side of the container, for any debris that has fallen on the ground that the operator is able to scoop up. Also mounted to the side of the front loader garbage truck is a fire extinguisher. Having this here is a safety precaution, to be used in case of an unexpected fire starting in or near the garbage truck that is small enough for the operator to safely contain. Have you ever wondered, what is going on with this rear wheel? It is smaller than the other wheels, and it is raised up. So why does such a thing exist? This is called a tag wheel, and it is called this, because you can think of this set of rear wheels as just tagging along with the other wheels. And this tag wheel serves an important purpose, it's just not needed all the time. During normal operation of the garbage truck, under normal load or weight conditions, the existing larger wheels are all that is needed to safely operate this vehicle, but when the load, or weight, or you can call it the payload, exceeds normal weight limits, then these tag wheels are lowered down, to provide the extra support needed for the garbage truck to operate safely. So these tag wheels serve an important purpose for this garbage truck. Let's now look at the front of the cab. Let's raise the arms and forks for a better look. Here are the windshield wipers. The glass in the front of the cab is called the windshield. Here are the headlights. Here are the warning lights that flash when the garbage truck is driving slowly and picking up dumpsters on its route. These lights up here are called marker lights, and this lets other drivers know the large size of this cab when it's dark, and a few of these lights flash as well as warning lights when the garbage truck is on its route. Here is the front bumper. Here is the grille, which covers the radiator and lets air into the engine compartment. Here are the two rearview mirrors. Here are the two front tires. Covering the tires are the fenders. This here, again, is the canopy. This front part here is the hopper. And the back area is the container. Here is the driver's door. And here is the step to climb up inside the cab. And here is the handlebar to grab a hold of when climbing up into the cab. This is a mudflap here. This is where the battery is stored. And here is the hydraulic fluid tank. Let's now look at the chassis again. You can see here, there are two front wheels. And in the back there are 8 wheels. And then there are the two tag wheels. There are mud flaps here, as well as here. Here is the frame, that is what holds everything up. And again, the cab tilts forward for access to the engine, and this is where the engine is, and attached to the engine is the transmission. And attached to the transmission is the power takeoff, or PTO, pump, which powers the hydraulic fluid system. And that describes, in general terms, how a front loader garbage truck operates. Let's now look inside the cab, at the in-cab control panel. This is the in-cab control panel. This first button is the pump button. This activates the hydraulic pump. When the hydraulic pump is on, the light on this button will be green. This second button is to close the tailgate. This light will be green when the tailgate is fully closed. The activate button also has to be pressed and held down while this button is being pushed in. This button opens the tailgate. This button also requires the activate button to be pressed in as well. This button is the activate button. It has to be held in when certain other buttons are pressed in as a safety precaution. This is the top door open button. Pressing and holding this button will open the top door to the hopper. When the top door is fully open, this light will be green. This is the top door close button. Pressing and holding this button will close the top door to the hopper. When the top door is fully closed, this light will flash red. This is the side door open warning light. When this light is on, it's a warning to the operator that the side door to the hopper is open. This is the auto pack button. Pressing this button will make the packer blade cycle through a packing cycle by pushing the waste all the way to the rear as far as it will go, and then returning to the resting or home position. This button is the packer blade retract button. This button retracts the packer blade and returns it to the resting or home position. This button is the packer blade extend button. This button extends the packer blade out to the rear of the container. This is the arm over body override button. This button will override the interlock in order to operate the packer blade when the arms are above the body. This is the remote button. This button will activate the exterior control panel, and the light here will turn green when active. Press this button again to turn off the exterior control panel. This is the residential mode button. This button enables the auto dump and residential controls when using the dual lever joysticks. Residential mode is when the grabber and front container are installed onto the forks to pick up and dump out residential trash carts. This button turns on the rear work light. Pressing this button a second time will turn off the rear work light. For the rear work light to turn on, the truck must be moving less than 10 miles per hour. This button raises the tag axle. And pressing this button will lower the tag axle, which are the small, raised two wheels at the rear of the truck. This button will turn on the side work lights. Pressing this button a second time will turn off the side work lights. This button will raise the pusher axle. And pressing this button will lower the pusher axle. The pusher axle is the smaller, raised two wheels that are optionally installed in front of the rear wheels. This button will turn on the strobe lights. Pressing this button a second time will turn off the strobe lights. Let's now check out the joystick controls. These are the dual lever controls, which are two separate levers. The levers are spring-loaded, so they will automatically return to the middle or neutral position when released. This lever is closest to the driver. When it is pulled backward, the arms of the garbage truck are raised up. And when this lever is pushed forward, the arms are lowered down. This lever is furthest away from the driver. When it is pulled backward, the forks of the garbage truck are raised up. And when this lever is pushed forward, the forks are lowered down. Let's now look at the single lever joystick control. This joystick is spring-loaded, so it, therefore, will automatically return to the middle or neutral position when it's released. To operate this joystick, this button here, the center button, needs to be pushed in first. Then pushing the joystick forward will lower the arms. And then pulling the joystick backward will raise the arms of the garbage truck. And here are two buttons. Pushing in the outer button will lower the forks. And pushing in the inner button will raise the forks. Do you now see this front loader garbage truck differently? You have much more knowledge now than you did before you watched this informative video. You now know what all of these words are, and you can now talk about front loader garbage trucks in more detail than ever before. And we are happy to help you with this greater understanding. Please hit like and subscribe. This really does help a lot. And thank you for watching.
Hungry Squishy Brain.